where do you go from here? I mean, is it just total world domination with both your dojo and your athletes, or what's the long-term plan here?
Long-term plan, I want to turn San Jose into a karate hub.
I love that.
Like, there is no reason why there isn't like a constant national champions coming out of this area. Like,
what's the holdup?
I
mean, is it resources?
I think it's just like in any business, there's just this large gap between the older generation and the new coming coaches and instructors and senseis. It's are you gonna let us in, or are you guys gonna hold that?
Got you.
Hold that, you know.
Yeah, they don't want the new blood or the new fresh blood, the new ideas. I've definitely witnessed that from a business perspective here in the Silicon Valley. There's a lot of old money, if you will, right? Old ideas. And
I don't want to rub anyone the wrong way either, but
I don't hear you doing that. You're an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. But it's like it's time. Not like get out of the way, but like I
embrace this.
Like, embrace. I give you my respect. I bow to you too. Like this, but what I have to offer right now is very to the times, and it's either you accept me or not, because I know I'm gonna be good no matter what. Mm-hmm. But maybe others on your side may not. But I don't know. That's not for me. It's like, I know for my people, I'm gonna take care of them.
I got you. So you were mentioning to me earlier when we walked in, you just had you had a very interesting and productive meeting before coming in today.
Yeah.
Wondered if you could talk a little bit about that too, in terms of how that and what you think, or how you think that's going to impact what you just said. So
yes, right now I've become the head coach of the USX team. So that's a U.S. Expeditionary Team. It's what it is essentially is not the national team per se under the national governing body, but a system of camps that develops youth athletes, a feeding system into USA Karate.
Okay, so USA Karate being the governing system.
Yes, USA Karate.
And the Expeditionary group being like a developmental team.
Yes.
Got you.
So we are a developmental team of coaches that run a year-round session of camps in various parts of the country, and sending select athletes around the country to help develop them.
Gotcha.
And what we hope to do with these athletes is prepare them to make the national team, because we want the best representation that we could have on the national team, and ultimately get them to take home medals internationally.
At an international level. So there's a gap right now, is what I understand, in that we can be competitive within our own country or within our own region, but once we step into international waters, we're fairly non-competitive.
Pretty much. Like I want to be as politically correct as possible.
It could be better.
We could do a lot better, and it could be a lot more consistent. And I hope by this system that we're not going against anyone at all. We just want to, give a hand on this, because there's a lot of attention to the U.S. senior national team, and I don't discredit anyone. Like there should be, but in the 2026 Youth Olympics in Senegal, there is still karate in the Olympics. And right now, if we want athletes to represent us, the target age group is between 10 and 14. And that is exactly our target age group.
Yeah, that's a lot of opportunity.
Exactly. So if we can create something to help these kids, this is the project. This is what it is. So take these kids, give you the best product that we can, the best athletes that we can, hand them over to USA Karate. You take it from there.
Gotcha.
Take it forward.
Gotcha. Just do for them what they're not necessarily doing right now, and basically hand them like a stable of kids. It's almost like a farm system of sorts to get people into the pro level. How do you so when you talk about this Expeditionary Team, right, or organization, are they located nationally, or will it be regionally, or how's it all organized?
So it's it's a team of coaches, right? So the key there's going to be a tournament every quarter.
Okay.
And every quarter whoever wins in their division gets funded into an international event. That's one thing. But the developmental camps as is Colorado, California, Miami, New York.
Okay, so all points of the compass.
All points of the compass, and that's exactly why we chose it that way. So that I take 20 kids for a weekend, I push them over to Miami. Miami takes those 20 kids, pushes them over to New York. New York takes those kids, pushes them over to Colorado. At the end of the year, you've had 4 teams of elite coaches like have a hand on
expose them instead of one way. My way is the highway, as you were sort of describing before, as being the red flag.
Yeah.
Which could be a limiter if you've had at the USA national level, they've had the same coaches, the same group of coaches forever. They've got limited resources, right? Because it's just those coaches, and they're running their system in their way. And again, not that they're doing anything wrong, but what about all this other talent and all these other resources? And by the way, the funding piece is a huge part of this, right? It's making these resources available to these kids that may not have access to this otherwise.
Exactly that. It's exactly that. We're not saying no. Someone's doing something wrong, but we understand resources are limited.
Limited, yeah.
Especially in the karate world, this isn't like $1 million, thing where it's like, okay, the government's giving you $5 million to develop these 80 kids. We don't have that.
There's no funding, yeah.
Right. So why not we do something on our own to help? This is just help. If we just want to help.
Gotcha.
That's it.
I gotcha. So it's a brand new, it's a sort of a brand new thing that you guys are getting going, and I think it's awesome. As a dad, I experienced within like women's soccer very specifically, and this is an ongoing thing. It's gotten very political, specific to like what's the U.S. women's team versus what's the U.S. men's team, the resources, how they're treated, and it's been a point of contention for a very, very long time. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like, there's a huge discrepancy, and it really all comes down to money and power at the end of the day. So, but particularly in women's sports, and again, I just want to come back to the young girls that I see coming out of there and who you're developing to just be strong, independent women. And I'm also going to say this too, like for people out there that might be listening to this or anything else for that matter with regard to martial arts, like, and the reasons you would send your kids there, you articulated that, like, that why would I want to get my kid in here? Not so they can learn how to beat somebody up, right? It was like to learn about commitment, to learn about respect, to learn about dedication, to learn about hard work, right? Actions and consequences, all of those things. And I'll take it one step further. And this is not so your kid doesn't get bullied. It's also so your kid doesn't become the bully, right? Like all of those things that you just mentioned come way before getting or being bullied. Right? Like you, when you understand that, when you understand those concepts, you don't turn into that kid. You're not the one that gets bullied, and you're not the one that ends up doing the bullying. But going back to the female, the young women's side of this thing, I think there is opportunity within this sport where there may not be in a lot of other sports. And you guys are kind of trailblazing here and paving your own way. And Jesus, I mean, what better person to have on the front as the head coach of this thing than somebody like you who's done the work that you've done and earned the things that you've earned along the way. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely girl power right now.
I love it.
And nothing to boys, but this was originally a man's sport. Yep. And even now, when you look at tournaments, when you show up to these tournaments, you'll just see like a room full of boys.
It's male dominated.
Male dominated. I mean, what do you expect for a combat sport?
Sure.
But there are a wave of girls coming up.
Right.
Like,
that's great.
It's very cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so cool seeing it all over your social media, like I said. So, wow, so many great things. I mean, I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot there. And, I know this is the first one of these podcast things you've ever done, and there's so much there. And I know there's a lot that we probably didn't talk about. And, I guess the next part would be is like, how do people find out more about Joan? Where do they go if they want to find out about your business, about your career, about how to get involved, how to support, all those kind of things? Where do they go? What do they do?
So one thing is, if you're looking to sign, if you have a young child, or maybe you even want to start karate, visit my website, ubakc.com. You'd see our class schedule, if you're interested. If not, one thing that I'm very active on is my Instagram at Joane Orbon. You'll see I try to be as active as I can, posting every day, talking about what I'm doing every day, and you'll see my kids. You'll see, what, like, my current projects, what I'm doing. And one thing for sure is that I have a soft heart when it comes to kids. Like I treat every student like my own. And call me crazy, but I mean, it's become a home for a lot of kids. And as you can think that, there's a kid that may have all the talent in the world, but might not have the financial support to make it to, one, even afford the equipment or the uniforms that are required to compete at a higher level. And if you do just want to take the time to support, like, an athlete, for example, or just anything along those lines, I've already have a few families that need the help. And if they could, maybe find a way to reach out to me, we could get something going that the community could, put their foot forward and support kids.
Gotcha. I love that. Well, like I said, I mean, if there's anything we can do here at Red Dot on Ironsides to support you and your team, be happy to do so. But thanks again for coming down. It's been great hanging out and chatting with you. And finally, I'm glad we finally made this happen. Yeah,
thank you so much. Just such a smooth talk.
I think you did great. Like I said, it's weird that we're just getting in front of one another now, quite frankly. I mean, I want to know all the talent in the local area and support them the best I can. So I cannot wait to see where this goes for you.
Thank you.
I can't. So I'm going to keep my eye out. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
See ya.